morning, everybody, and happy day, happy holiday. I guess it's a holiday. I'm putting it in here so I do my tech check right away. So let's see here. This didn't go live on Facebook yet. Yeah, Facebook has been a little wonky. Had some struggles today getting it set up for the show, but finally I did. That's why it's 9. It's late. Anyway, let's get started. Happy Columbus Day, and I guess they're trying to give Columbus a Happy Columbus Day, a different day. Oh gosh, that's one of those words, Indigenous Day, and just a thought out there. And I know I don't always give my opinions about things, but I'm an old-fashioned girl, woman, lady, and I just believe. It's that spam call I should have get every day. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, I just think that we can't change history. And sometimes I think that's what people are trying to do, is change our history. I don't know. Be old-fashioned. I don't care if you want to, whatever you want to call it, but to me it's Columbus. I know people had disease, they had slaves, they had all those things, but that was history. Look how far we've come. And I think it should remind us how far we've come. Not tuck it under the carpet that we haven't come this far. Come a long way. Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's get on with being in Las Vegas. It's another day in paradise. I was out walking this morning. It was so beautiful. And I didn't have my phone ready. There must have been a couple hundred geese that left the banks of the 18th Green Lake and flew in probably in about 10 different groups. It was amazing. And I missed it, but anyway, it was really cool. And they were flying pretty low too, because you could have seen them. We have 27, almost 28 days of inventory, which is wonderful. We listed 112 homes. Well, single family homes. We listed 94, but that's fine. I'm happy with that. We're selling 105 a day. And, as we get closer to the middle of the month, we'll see what happens. Last October, we were selling 127, which is really interesting to me. We sold more homes last October. We sold 1,270 versus our 1,046 this year. I don't know what that means, but we're going to trend it, right? We've been trending down a little bit since July, so we'll see why and is it the interest rates? Is it the median price home went up? We shall see. We did list 29 homes under 400,000 this weekend, which gives us a total of 843 active homes that are under 400,000, and those are single family homes. I don't throw the condos and the townhomes into that mix because they're generally under 400,000, most of them. And the non-owner occupied buyers bought from October 1st 418 homes, which they're buying about 44 homes a day. So that's a big number. There are 138 million homes in the United States, and 80% of those homes are homeowners, but 20% are investor properties. And the interesting thing about that is that of that 20%, the majority of them are mom and pops. In other words, they're not the institutional home buyers, because the institutional home buyers are people who own 10 or more. Now, I've heard Tom Ferry say this time and time again, but I started thinking about it and I thought, well, okay, so that gives us perhaps a broader base of people to contact to perhaps list, get them to sell their current home and buy a newer home perhaps, get rid of the deferred maintenance, things like that. That would be one of my pitches if I were doing that today. But the number of institutional buyers and the number of homes they own, it's a pretty big number. Invitation Homes is one of them. Zilla's getting into that market, of course. An Open Door. But anyway, we digress a little bit. That's a whole nother show we're gonna get into sometime this. I don't know about it. We won't get into it this week, because this week I have to tell you that I took 24 hours to attend the Tom Ferry Success Summit. And later in the week, well, perhaps tomorrow, there was a fellow there, Andy, and Andy does $20 million a year. Now, he has a team, and that's in commissions. He has a team, and he has 30% of the market share. And he's gonna tell us how he got started. Now, he's been in the business over 10 years, but he wasn't always that successful. And I mean, everybody, you look at people and you think, oh my God, they're an instant success. Well, they're not. And the one thing that Earl Nightingale says is, he says, we all have problems. Successful people just figured out how to solve them. I think that's brilliant. We all have problems. Successful people just figured out how to solve their problems. How cool is that? Uh-oh. Oh, dear. I hope you can hear me. Nobody's saying anything. Good morning, Frank. Good to see you again. This is, when I have technical problems, sometimes I get a little bit. Let me see if you can hear me. Sorry, everybody. It's amazing that you continue to be my. Let me see if you can hear me. Yes, you can. Okay. All right. Sorry. Anyway, so Earl Nightingale, he's a brilliant man, and Brian Buffini was gifted from Diane. Thank you, Frank. Was gifted from Diane Nightingale, because Earl's passed away now. So Brian Buffini got his treasure trove of things that he never really put out there. And one of them, I think it was last week. So Earl Nightingale says, we have a mind. I mean, think of all the creatures on this earth and how lucky we are that we have a mind. And so he says that we don't use enough of our mind, and part of our mind we use with worrying about things. So of the time we worry, he says 40% we worry about things that never happen. 30% we worry about things we can't control. 12% we worry about our health issues versus taking care of them. And then 10% just petty little things we worry about. 8% of what we worry about is probably legitimate. So we waste a lot of time worrying about things that we can't do anything about. So what he suggested is, well, I guess he gave some background first. He said, first of all, if you work a 40-hour work week, you actually work 1,912 hours. I have to get my stats straight here. So if you work a 40-hour week, you work about 1,900 hours a year. And your waking hours are 5,840. That takes off time for sleeping and brushing your teeth and things like that. So you actually have 4,000 hours a year to do other things with. So that's an interesting number. And he said, if you took 1 hour a day, so of those 4,000 hours, let's say, and you didn't do it Saturday and Sunday, so 50 times 5, of those 4,000 hours, right? If you took an hour a week times, an hour a week, that's 5 times 50. That's only 250 hours a year for what he suggests that you do. So here's what he suggests that you do. And I kind of do this. I pretty much do this. But I've learned a lot from this little podcast that I listen to of what I can do better. So 1 hour we need to exercise our mind. And our mind will continue to get better the more we exercise it. And we exercise our mind not with worrying about those things, and not about working, because that's more routine and things like that. But exercise your mind. And here's how he suggests that you do it. You take 1 hour a day, preferably in the morning. And that's when I basically do it. And a blank sheet of paper. And you put your goal at the top. And then you go down the sheet of paper with 20 ideas to improve what you can do to get to your goal. So if you do that, you're actually mining a gold mine, because our minds are golden. And he says, at first it's hard. It's difficult. You're going to have a hard time. but eventually you're going to start getting into the rhythm of it. And what you're doing is, because you're exercising your mind's going to become more creative, and it's going to be more focused on what you're trying to accomplish. And I thought that that was just something, the little holiday trivia that I would give everybody, a little tip, because I do it. I'm going to do it better though. After listening to him, I see where I had the error of my ways, and I'm going to do it better, because I have to have the end in mind when I'm doing it. And sometimes I'm coming up with things that might not always be things that are going to allow me to achieve my goals. So I need to focus my idea more, like my 20 things, on what my goal is. And so if you fall into that trap, that's okay. Like I'm just telling you now, you might fall into the trap, so then you'll get better at it.